In the United States, Boeing was once a national pride, a golden symbol of American aviation, and its aircraft formed the backbone of the fleets of the Big Three: American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United Airlines. These carriers control over 50% of the U.S. domestic market, and their histories have been deeply intertwined with Boeing for over a century. Yet in 2025, something almost unthinkable happened. Not a single U.S. airline placed an order for the Boeing 777X, the aircraft hailed as Boeing's future. They chose to order the Airbus A350 instead, the flagship product of Boeing's European rival. Why did America's aviation giants turn their backs on Boeing? How did the A350 manage to beat the 777X in the U.S. market? Let's find out. When Boeing unveiled the 777X in 2013, it quickly became the most noteworthy and eagerly awaited aircraft of that period. Being a next-generation wide-body jet, like the 737 MAX, it was built upon a proven foundation, the original 777. It promised to surpass its predecessor in every way: fuel efficiency, passenger capacity, aerodynamics, and in-flight experience. The most notable point is the folding carbon fiber wingtips, the first ever on a commercial aircraft. Besides, it is equipped with the GE9X, the largest in the world. Not only that, it has a Dreamliner-inspired cabin, modern, spacious, and quiet. All of it painted a vision of the future of long-haul flying, and many believed Boeing would once again dominate the skies. Initially, this confidence was reinforced by swift orders from Emirates, Lufthansa, and Qatar Airways, along with widespread interest across the aviation industry. Among engineers, the 777X was hailed as the pinnacle of modern technology, but that confidence quickly gave way to disappointment. Originally slated for delivery in 2020, the program has faced repeated delays. Now it pushed back to at least 2026. Along the way, serious issues kept emerging: malfunctioning assembly line robots, cracked engine mounts, wing components failing to meet engineering standards. Worst of all, the aircraft still hasn't secured FAA certification, an essential milestone before any plane can enter commercial service. For airlines, that's a fatal bottleneck. They can't build schedules, make operational plans, or place trust in a jet with no clear future. But the strangest part of all, why hasn't a single U.S. airline ordered the 777X? American Airlines, Delta Airlines, and United, the Big Three of U.S. aviation, all longtime Boeing customers, have all declined to purchase this aircraft. Why? To understand why U.S. carriers are uninterested in the 777X, you must understand how they operate. First, unlike carriers such as Emirates that funnel traffic through a single mega-hub in Dubai, U.S. airlines function via a multi-hub strategy. For example, Delta serves Atlanta, Minneapolis, and Salt Lake City. United operates from Chicago, Newark, and Houston. American flies through Dallas, Charlotte, and Miami. This fragmentation makes it extremely difficult to fill a 400-seat aircraft like the 777X, especially on international routes. Such a massive plane demands large concentrations of passengers, an unrealistic expectation in a distributed network. The core difference in operational models is key. Emirates, Qatar Airways, or Turkish Airlines, with their large hubs in Dubai, Doha, and Istanbul, can easily gather passengers from numerous smaller origins and consolidate them onto a single long-haul flight. This creates a sufficient passenger volume to fill massive aircraft like the 777X or A380. Conversely, the U.S. multi-hub network disperses passengers across many points, diluting the flow and making it impossible to achieve optimal passenger loads for a supersized flight. For instance, instead of 400 passengers flying from one hub to London, Delta might have 100 passengers from Atlanta, 100 from Minneapolis, and 100 from Salt Lake City, each on smaller aircraft connecting to the same destination. This highlights a clear mismatch between the aircraft configuration and the operational model. Second, beyond just flight routes, passenger behavior in the U.S. leans toward flexibility. Travelers prefer multiple smaller flights throughout the day rather than a single supersized flight. This trend favors aircraft like the A350-900 or Boeing 787-9, smaller, more fuel-efficient, easier to schedule, and simpler to fill. In contrast, the 777X is overbuilt for a market that values frequency and flexibility. Consider a practical example. A business traveler needs to fly from New York to London for a critical meeting. Instead of having only one massive 777X flight available late in the evening, they can choose from multiple 787 or A350-900 flights spread throughout the day, allowing them to pick the departure time that best fits their schedule. This flexibility is not only convenient but also mitigates the risk of delays or disruptions. In a highly competitive business environment with tight schedules, having more frequent, smaller flight options offers a significant advantage. For leisure travelers, flexibility is also key to optimizing their time and avoiding long waits for a single, large flight. Third, international demand from the U.S. fluctuates seasonally, surging in summer and holidays, then dropping sharply in January or September. Utilizing a massive aircraft year-round becomes a financial gamble if it cannot fill its seats consistently. U.S. airlines see this as unnecessary risk. During off-peak months, a 777X might only operate at 50 to 60% capacity, leading to very high per-seat operating costs. Conversely, smaller aircraft like the A350-900 or 787 can be more easily adjusted to fluctuating demand. Airlines can reduce flight frequency or deploy smaller planes on routes with lower demand without bearing the cost burden of a large, unfilled aircraft. This provides essential financial flexibility in the airline industry, where profit margins are often thin and every cost is meticulously considered. Finally, another lesser-known but critical barrier is airport infrastructure and immigration rules in the U.S. Without international transit zones that allow passengers to connect without re-clearing customs, as many European and Asian airports offer, each traveler arriving in the U.S., even for a connecting flight, must go through full immigration. This process turns mega aircraft into logistical bottlenecks and degrades passenger experience. Imagine a 777X flight carrying 400 passengers from Dubai to Chicago, where 200 passengers are connecting to other U.S. cities. All 400 passengers must go through the full immigration process, including baggage claim, customs, and then rechecking baggage for their connecting flights. This process can take hours, especially during peak times, leading to significant delays and greatly reducing passenger satisfaction. This stands in stark contrast to airports in Europe or Asia, where international transit passengers can move directly between terminals without needing to clear immigration, making connections much faster and more efficient. The absence of international transit zones is a major structural factor, making larger aircraft less appealing for U.S. airlines. It's not about the aircraft's capability or performance, rather, it's a matter of the 777X's fit and timing. It is seen as too large, too complex, and too late, making it a poor strategic choice for the airlines Boeing once considered its closest allies. Beyond structural and route considerations lies a deeper challenge, a crisis of confidence in Boeing. The legacy of the 737 MAX, developed on a similar incremental upgrade strategy, resulted in 2 fatal crashes. The consequences, a perception of corners being cut, haunted Boeing. With the 777X, the company followed suit, expanding on the old 777 frame instead of embarking on a ground-up redesign. While this may appeal to engineers looking for cost savings, U.S. airline CEOs, who oversee multi-billion-dollar investments, see it as a gamble. An aircraft without certification, without a firm delivery timeline, and built around an outdated design philosophy is simply a risk few are willing to take. The delays in certification and delivery of the new Boeing aircraft further exacerbate this issue. Airlines require certainty regarding the timing and operational capabilities of their fleet. Having to wait for a new aircraft for years without a clear commitment on delivery dates poses a significant risk to their business operations. By contrast, Airbus built the A350 from scratch. Lightweight composites, a clean-sheet aerodynamic design, a new wing, and a fully modern avionics system. More than 200 A350s have been delivered globally, demonstrating reliability at scale. The craziest part is that in the U.S., Delta Airlines, part of the Big Three, has already received 62 A350s, not only replacing older aircraft but also ordering the A350-1000, a direct competitor to the 777X. Besides, United Airlines maintains its order for 45 A350-900s as a future strategic option, signaling its disinterest in the 777X. Even American Airlines, despite canceling its A350 order, opted for the Boeing 787-9 instead of the 7X. The Airbus XWB aircraft's success in the U.S. market clearly demonstrates that Airbus better understood the needs of airlines in this region. They delivered a product that aligns with the multi-hub strategy, prioritizes flexibility and reliability, and avoids the trust issues Boeing is currently facing. One more time, the issue with the 777X isn't its performance, it's that its design philosophy, timing, and expectations no longer align with the reality of U.S. aviation. As business models evolve and passengers demand more flexibility and reliability, what once seemed like an engineering marvel increasingly looks like a product out of step. In the U.S. aviation industry, it is often seen as too big, too complex, and too late, making it a poor strategic fit for the airlines that Boeing once counted on as its closest allies. This serves as a crucial lesson not just for Boeing, but for the entire aircraft manufacturing industry. Listening to and adapting to changing market needs is paramount for long-term success. So, what does the future hold for the 777X? While U.S. passenger airlines are turning away, the future of the Boeing 7X might lie in the air cargo market. Major players like FedEx and UPS are showing significant interest in the 777-8F, a new generation freighter version. For these companies, the critical factors are performance and payload capacity, strengths where this aircraft excels, unburdened by the complexities of passenger experience or seasonal fluctuations. Furthermore, if Boeing successfully certifies this aircraft and it proves reliable in European and Middle Eastern markets in the coming years, it's plausible that United Airlines or American Airlines could reconsider purchasing the 777X in the 2030s to replace their aging 777-300ER fleets. However, this would be a safe bet made from a distance, not the pioneering trust that once characterized the relationship between Boeing and U.S. carriers. The story of U.S. Airlines aircraft choices is not only a Boeing versus Airbus battle, it's not about them favoring European manufacturers over their own. Simply put, U.S. airlines are extremely pragmatic. They choose what's efficient, available, and proven, while resolutely avoiding risk. At this crucial juncture, the Airbus A350 embodies everything the 7X currently lacks: immediate availability for operation, superior fuel efficiency, greater operational flexibility, and freedom from the cycle of delays. Boeing still has a chance to turn things around, but to do so, they must restore confidence, not just through advanced technology, but through certainty, consistency, and transparency in every aspect of development and delivery. Which U.S. airline in the Big Three do you think will order the 777X first? Share your thoughts with us. Thanks and stay safe.